The Center to End All Sexual Exploitation, also known as CEASE, presents this information to raise awareness about sexually exploited women who are violently assaulted. Presently, there is a need for advocacy for victims to move forward through the justice system and to have their voices heard.
The women who are looking for support through Project STAR either get referred directly to the program through the police service or self. When it's self, at that point they haven't reported to police. It's the advocate's job to then build that relationship with that woman, to then get her to come forward and report the crime. Other times, if it's a police referral, they've already reported, and then we're building that relationship. And that takes time in any circumstance. And then going forward from there to court. And usually that's about a 2 to 3 year journey from the time that you meet this woman to the time it comes to going to court, whether that be a trial. If it goes that far, you're looking at 2 to 3 years of building a relationship with a woman who's been a victim of crime, usually a sexual assault due to exploitation.
What's important for everybody to understand is that we want to make it easy for them to come to us. We recognize that sexual assaults are underreported, and we don't want to create an environment where it's difficult for them to come to us. We make it be open, and we've created a variety of different ways that women can report or victims can report the assaults. And when they come and speak to us, they will find us very accommodating and willing to listen, but also not to take control of their story.
We work strongly with the sexual assault detectives, specifically on the major files. And we have to do that. We need to ensure that the investigation is complete to the best of their ability so that we have the most important information to present to the court. As a Crown, I'm responsible for presenting all relevant evidence. Whatever comes of that investigation must be presented to the court as long as it's relevant. And yes, it takes a lot of preparation and a lot of planning. When it comes to sexually exploited women or victims of sexual assault, there are processes to ensure that it's done fairly. So, for example, an individual can have a support person in the courtroom, and the idea for that is the person is able to tell their story in a setting that's most comfortable, where most people don't consider a court setting to be so. Another option is to have a screen available, so the person can testify behind a screen, again, to make the process comfortable. Because the whole idea is to get at the truth of the matter, to get at the evidence. And the best way to do that is to ensure that the parties can give their evidence in a manner that's most effective. When you use a screen, of course, you have to ensure that the accused can see the person who's alleged to have reported the crime against them. So the way you do that is to ensure that there's a television or a monitor or something. It protects the complainant and it protects the accused to ensure that the process is fair.
In these situations, in these events, these sexual assaults, somebody's taken away power from them. Somebody's victimized them and decided for them what they were going to do with their bodies, for example. I do not go and make those decisions for them again. I give them control. I say, this is your information, this is your story. I'm working for you. You tell me what you need. Do you need me to do an investigation, or do you just want to tell me that this had happened? That's up to you.
Women don't come forward to report for a couple of reasons. No trust of police, no trust of society, period. Don't know where to go to for the support, and that's where we come in as advocates. And we're that bridge between the women to the police and building that trust for the women letting them know that they can trust the police. And that's the job of an advocate, to let them know that the police do want to hear your story, that they are very interested in your story, and that you do have this support, and following through with that and bridging the women to the police. And it's being consistent. Once again, you have to be consistent with these women and letting them know that you are here to support them and that you are here to be heard, and we are listening to you and we believe you.
I think that is the challenge, is that there's a disconnect between sex trade workers and police. We have to build, the police have to build some degree of confidence in sex trade workers, that we will take them seriously, that we are there for them, and that we do want to hear their story.
I can't speak personally how a victim would feel about filing a victim impact statement, but I can say this, that obviously when a victim files one, the court has to take that into account when the person is sentenced. So in that way, at least the victim's thoughts, feelings, or whatever it is he or she wishes to explain to the court is relayed to the court. So I would suspect, not speaking personally for them, that that would assist in their process of moving forward. I would also say that there's some finality to testifying. Speaking from a Crown who does a lot of sexual assault trials, I always tell the people who testify, you've done what you can do, and whatever happens from here on in, you've done your best, and now you can move on. And I've often heard from many of them, thank you, that was a very difficult process, but yes, now I can move on. I tell them that regardless of the outcome, because in my personal view, it validates the fact that they did what they came to do. They told their story, and whatever happens after that is out of my hands and is out of their hands.
So when you can build that rapport with somebody and be able to, let them know that I'm here and be consistent and relentless with them and let them know that, that you are there for them, that takes time and it's a slow build, but when it happens and they know that, and you can get them into court to tell their story and put a violent offender away and give them back their power, it's a beautiful thing to watch that and to have that woman, you can see it when they're in the courtroom, right? When they're telling their story up there, and when you walk out of there and you can see how they got their power back. And to get a sentence, handed down to somebody who harmed them, and when you walk out and they know that you've had their back, and and then you walk away from that with them, and you still carry these relationships with them beyond that, right? So I think that's what makes us different than your traditional victim service unit as well, that because you have that ability to build that relationship with that woman for such a long period of time, that we're lucky. We get to meet these women on a completely different scale, and so I'm grateful for that, actually.
How an individual may choose to move their life forward after being victimized will be unique to the person and their situation. Despite many of the positive achievements through legislation that ensures the voices of victims are heard, there remains a need for advocacy. All victims are worthy of compassion and need respect for their dignity. CEASE collaborates with government and victim services to provide continued support to victims of sexual exploitation to help them move forward through the justice system.